the tracks. Some cars will have an advantage, some won't. It's all about how you tackle it and deal with it. Of course, there are individuals that will always go with their favorites, but it's probably a good location where you can try different things here. Race format and all those details, 10 minutes of driver's briefing. This is what we have now, followed by a 20-minute free practice session. Again, servers should start within the next 7 minutes. Because it's simracing.gp, it takes about another 2 minutes or so for it to populate all your details, car choices and selections and so forth. Get your Steam IDs ready. So about 2 minutes it takes just to load everything up. It gives you a 20-minute free practice session. Again, then thereafter a 10-minute qualifying session. So short sprint qualifying. One of the key things that we want to keep and remain. Keep it simple, get out quick, get your time, set it up. There's not enough time for you to do multiple laps. It is Misano. You can probably hit about 4 or 5 good laps if you get it out properly, get your tires warmed up and so forth. From a qualifying standard point, guys, our rules and regulations are fairly basic and simple when it comes to things like that. Ideally, what we would want you guys to be aware of is that the qualifying standards during sessions is, of course, priority is always given to the cars currently on a flying lap. So we ask all that if and when you're not on a flying lap, move out of the way, allow that individual to do what he needs to do at that point and get that done. That also applies to if you are on your flying lap and you cock it up, okay? I mean, from an indication point of view, ACC brings that benefit where you will be displayed blue on his track map. So you will know that you have messed it up, therefore you won't be able to set the amount of time. Recover that, sit back, get back into it, allow the guy behind you to do what he needs to do. Otherwise, you both are just going to impose on each other and it just creates headaches, okay? Imagine you are that guy that sits behind the guy that holds you up, and you are on a flying lap and he's not, okay? So it's one of those scenarios, okay? So stopping cars on racing lines are not prohibited. I mean, it's all racing, guys. We do try and simulate the as best possible real-world racing scenarios. Okay, it's not easy, but we do hope everyone understands racing, understands sim racing, has the benefits, but we also want to have fun with it. Okay, so qualifying points, get out, do what you need to do. Don't hold anyone else back up. If you're on a flying lap, you have right of way. That's sort of my opinion. If you're not, please, I ask you to move out of the way, allow that guy. And again, of course, last but not least, create your own gap, guys. We're not going to have arguments and discussions about where this guy was when you started your flying lap and he started his flying lap. We're all adults here. We want to keep it fair and simple. Okay, from a racing standpoint, and of course, where we start talking about pit entries and pit exits, because it's Misano, because our requirements for the season is for you guys to at least fill in 1 liter of fuel. Last season was all about changing tires. This season, not so much. Again, it's a sprint race. The idea about getting you guys to do pit stops in a sprint race is all about seeing how effective pit stops is. It's one of the key things most guys fall short of, and that is getting the right pit entry lines, getting the right pit exit lines, getting your car to stop on the point, minimizing the double jack up and things like that. The more time spent in pits is the more time you lose on the opponent you are challenging for. So imagine you are 5 cars fighting for pole position or the win of a race, and you mess up your pit stop strategies. Well, that's not going to put you in reigning for that winning championship. You're going to lose all your time in the pits. That's sort of what we come down to. Again, you are most free and welcome to do a tire change if you want to. We don't stop you. Ideally, if you do a pit stop this season, we ask you to do a tire change, a fuel entry, which means 1 liter of fuel by minimum. Okay. Again, pit entry, pit exits, guys. Pit entry is on the final corner of Misano. Pit exits is after the S's, which means cars might meet up or collide one another coming down to what I would call is probably not a hairpin, but it feels like a hairpin. It's one of those corners that you can find the guy on your left hand side. Um, Ideally, rule of thumb by us, guy coming out of the pit lane probably has line of way because he has got no other way besides going straight and coming out of the pit lane. He may not cross the white line. We ask you not to cross his white line, but then also be aware of him. If you guys are going to go side by side into the next corner, that's perfectly fine. Racing is what it's all about, but then just leave enough space for each individual. The other big burden about Misano, boys, is track limits, track things, track cuts. All of those are dealt by penalties by the game. That's how it deals with. From a racing standard point, guys, this is live stewarded. Okay, so there's a couple of guys with me that will sit and live steward this. Okay, our rule of thumb is fairly basic. You create havoc on lap one, you will get a penalty. There's probably no two ways about it. Again, from that standpoint, we will indicate that in most incidents we will we will exercise reasonable judgment at all times, and particularly when reviewing light contacts and taps and things like that. Okay, our rule of thumb is the first lap penalty incidents will be looked at harsher. I'm fairly sure other communities do the same thing and apply the same principle. It's because we know, because it's a 50-minute race, we don't want to keep you guys up. You don't want to race alone. You want to have an eventful event and so forth. So if you create contact, you will be penalized. We will review anything from start to finish during the 50-minute race. If there is something we have missed, please feel free to log the incidents onto the website. Again, our website is on the social media links. Send it through. We have a bunch of stewards secondary to the guys working tonight that will have a review on your incident. And if penalties needs to be imposed, we'll do it later on. The same applies for if you don't agree with penalties applied to you during the race, you are free to object to it. Again, there's a limited time frame for all those things. What we do ask people is do racing, but please be aware of the guys next to it. This is a sprint race. There's 6 seasons. We don't want guys to make it ugly for anyone else. And if you do, sorry, you will get a penalty. That just is what it is. All right. We are strict on clean racing at LNR. For those that don't know it, that is exactly how we run it. I'd rather have 30 people run clean races than 5 servers where everyone complains at the end of the day. I think I've spoken a lot too much. I do thank you all for listening for me. Servers will sort of kick off now, so it's busy launching at this moment. If anyone has any questions or concerns or anything else, feel free to raise your hand. Everything is live stewarded thanks to our streamer and our broadcaster, Mr. Ike, that will take care of that. And then the individuals working in the background, making sure we handle and deal everything else. At the same time, I think we will have our first official pit wall telemetries on, so we'll test that tonight as well. So we're getting a bit fancy for everyone else. Other than that, do have fun. Bon appetit. I wish you all the best of luck. Again, thank you all for joining. You are free to leave. Get yourself ready. Get your order ready. Server should be launching soon. Anyone that has a question, feel free to raise your hand and we can talk about it. Thanks and good night, man. Bon appetit.
Way.
Away.
Server live.
Not yet.
Okay, I see it. SimRacing GP Logistical
Oh, there
Nightmare
it
Round
is.
1. Misano. Okay, nou moet ek net gou daai password kopie.
LNR ACC. All uppercase.
Ja, copy and paste, bra. Hierdie computer shit werk vir my net awesome. Ek gaan gou weer pis. Ek's nou terug.
No blessed. Okay. 2837.
Pit exit's clear. Stay behind the white line. Your brakes are cold. Take it easy.
Ja, maar die streep probeer start.
Ja, myne het al gestart. Hallo.
En daar jij moet zeker weer terug in.
Ja, Misano, 16 turns, of which 10 is turning right.
Ja.
You quickest overall.
Okay.
Okay, Rowan. 15 minutes left. That's 15 minutes.
Ooh. Okay.
Practice.
Sector 1 is 0.7 off the pace.
Is button 12.
My ma gaan jou bel hoor.
Ag, sê maar lekker bel. Well, dit is hy. Ouens, julle weet dit was 'n trick, nee.
Sector 2 time is okay.
Qualify.
Dat sien
As jy
gaan vinniger as al ja.
ja. Om vinniger die pits uit te kom. Moenie die pitlimiter aansit nie, maar hou hom net by 68 km/h. Maar
Okay.
dit sê jou nie.
Aha.
Interesting.
48 km.
68.
68.
Ja,
Dis oor die limit.
ja, dis qualify. So moet net nie 70 raak nie, want dan auto reset jou na jou pit.
P2.
Okay.
Ja.
Sector 3 time is
Nou wel,
fast.
laas in 'n practice session toe ry ek verkeerde rigting toe. Toe is ek 'n DNF of 'n DNQ of whatever vir die res van
Qualified vir jou pad.
ja.
Nee, dis hoekom as
The guy behind has just done a 3:05.1 seconds.
Pits dan reset ek net.
You're a 10th off the pace in Sector 1. Your Sector 2 time is quick. You've just done a 135.15. The guy behind has just done a 136.91. Alright, Rowan, we need to watch the track limits.